Hey guys, today I am going to do, well, I'm going to do my June one little word prompt with you, but a little bit differently. It's going to be a quick one today. I've already done the prompt. There was a lot of writing in this month. It isn't necessarily my favorite kind of prompt, but it was interesting to actually sit down and go through the process. Instead of resizing these sheets to fit into page protectors, like I did here in May, I resized this one, I resized the ones at the start of the year. What I want to do for June instead is I'm going to hide all this journaling. I just printed out the PDF as it was, so these are 6x8 sheets. Clearly they don't fit in the album. I'm going to make like a full page envelope to put in here so that I can just tuck those into the envelope, close it up, hide it away. I've still got all the writing there, but it's just a little bit prettier, I guess. So to do that, I'm just going to use a 1-2-3 punch board, my favorite thing, and I'm going to just make a really pretty little envelope using paper 10 from Bloom Street. It's one of my favorites in the collection. I love that it has both of these pretty patterns. Often you get a paper that's got like one on one side that you love, but the other one, not so much. This one I'm going to see both. I'm going to see the outside pattern and the inside pattern, and I kind of want them both to be nice. So I think I'm going to have this on the outside, but when you open the inside, obviously these watercolor patterns work really nicely with the colors of dividers that I've got between June and July. So the other thing I want to show you is the envelope generator app from We Are Memory Keepers. Have a Google, grab that on the App Store. It is a lifesaver. So I want a width of 8¼ and a card height of 5, and you just hit generate and it tells you how big to make it. Now I did do a tiny little bit of fiddling around. I won't tell you how many different ones I made for this, but to get the like correct size for an envelope to fit in a Life Crafted album, these are the measurements I used. So a card width of 8 and the height of 4 5/8, which gives me a paper size of 10 1/8 and a punch guide at 3 7/8. So it does take a little bit of finagling to get the right size. This is generating an envelope that is bigger than the card widths that you're putting in. So if you put your exact page size, the envelope's going to be a little bit larger, and it does just take a little bit of I mean, you can guess like I do. You could probably work it out, I'm sure, but this was what I came up with. So I am just going to trim down my paper and then use the punch board using those measurements to get my envelope. So once you've got your envelope shape, of course you have to decide which way you want the envelope to go. This way, I think, you know, I'm not a fan of green, but I think I'm going to have it open with the green edges out, just because I think that will go best with the dividers that I've got. Like so. And the other thing that I like to do is I like to trim off this edge, so I am just going to fold these a bit flatter. And then I just make 2 tiny pencil marks where these flaps intersect, and I'm just going to trim that off with my paper trimmer. And then you just have a little bit more space to put these things in here, so I'm gonna just glue this together. And then I have my fun envelope. Obviously, to put this into my Life Crafted album, I'm gonna need to punch some holes. So I'm just going to use my divider as a guide. And my little envelope fits in here nicely. I can fold up my journaling so that it fits in there, and I might even fold it the other way so that you can see that there is writing on there. Pop that in. You can close this any way you want with a little sticker. I've used little pieces of like hook and loop tape, Velcro, before. That might work. I think that's what I might do. And feel free to decorate as you will. I'm not going to decorate this. I think it's pretty enough on its own. I love how these diamonds almost line up. But if you do not have like a 1, 2, 3 punch board or an envelope punch board, you can still make an envelope using your silhouette, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So like I said, if you don't have an envelope punch board, you've got a silhouette, you can definitely make an envelope, a full-size envelope, using your Silhouette Studio software, exactly the same as the punch board. I will say the punch board is considerably easier, but let's give this a whirl. I'm just going to start by dragging out a rectangle, just a shape, it doesn't matter. We're going to put it up here. I'm going to use the exact same dimensions that I used for the envelope punch board. So I need my square, my original paper, to be 10 1/8, which is 10.125 on both edges. And then I need to draw myself a second rectangle, which I want to be the page width that I need, which is 5 by 8 1/4. It doesn't matter which way that is. What I do want to do though is turn this so it is at a 45-degree angle. And then I'm just going to grab both of those shapes and center them both in here. Now I actually find for the next step it's kind of easier to turn both of these around, so I want to turn both of these around to a 45 angle so that my middle rectangle is sort of perpendicular to the page. It's just going to make life a lot easier. What we need to do is we don't want to cut the middle out of this paper, so we need to create some lines, and I'm just going to create a horizontal line here, and I want to align it to the top of that rectangle. Oops. And then I want to make the, I don't want it to be a solid line, I want it to be a dashed line so that we get, that's kind of our fold line here. And then I'm going to copy that and paste that, and I want this down the bottom here as well. And I'm just going to copy it again and turn this one around so this time it is vertical, and line it up against the other edges of the middle rectangle. And then if you're really careful, if you send that line to the back, you should be able to pick up your rectangle and you can delete that. Except that I didn't put a line, I took the line away there. And delete that. So now we've got our fold lines. What we want to do though is notch out these little pieces here. So I am just going to create a smaller little square. Drag this until it matches this intersection, and then click on the larger square as well, and go to my modify panel, and I want to subtract. And I'm going to repeat that on all 4 corners. And then the last step is to take these lines, and I'm just going to move one of them down to here. You want to line those up. We don't need like a double cut line, So you just want that to line up with the notches that we have pulled out. And then you can group all of that together. I am going to turn that around one more time so it fits on my page. You go ahead and run that through your silhouette, and then you will have your envelope. There we go. I decided to add just a little bit of, it's not even decoration, is it? I just added my word in here. These are some wood veneer and gold foil. They're not thickers, are they? Alphas from Paintbrush Studio. I have had them for a very, very long time. I've barely used them, as you can see. I still had an E, so I popped that on there. And I did add a little bit of hook and loop tape in here, just to keep this shut. It makes this page a tiny bit bulky, but we're halfway through the year. I've got plenty of space left in this album. That's it. Super simple. I will say, like, the writing for this prompt took at least 10 times as long as it did to make this envelope. So it was a valuable exercise. As much as I dread having to think about things and write my thoughts down, it was a valuable exercise, and I am really pleased with how this word is supporting me through this year. It has just been shock after shock after shock, and I'm doing okay with this word, so I'm pleased about that. Do let me know how you're doing down below, either with your word or just with life in general. I am always interested to hear how you're going. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again really soon. Bye guys.